Alright people, so I'm here with my weekly news once again here. I've had a good time doing this, covering actually real stories, so I plan on continuing to do it for, I don't have any plans of stopping it, let's just put it that way. So again, kind of like last week, I have 9 main stories I'm going to cover. I think last week I had 10, but today I have 9. And then again, you could find the link down in the description of links and what I'm going to be covering. And also, if you go to the third page in that document, it's a Google Doc, you will find a list of other stories that I found interesting. It takes up about a page. I'm not going to cover them, but you could look at them if you want. So let's get to the first story here. The first one is on vaccines in Mexico. Now, we have a lot of people saying, oh, vaccines are safe. Stop questioning the legitimacy of vaccines and problems they cause. But an article came out in CNN Mexico, and it's in Spanish. And if you actually, what I did was I highlighted it, and it put it into Google Translate, and it translated it into English, where you could read it, and it talks about how the vaccines endangered kids in Mexico. So there you go. I mean, once again, vaccines are causing harm. And if we go back to 2 weeks ago from a story I covered, I also linked it on the document from Yahoo UK News. It talked about how what's the name? GlaxoSmithKline something or other. I forget the name of the company. Glaxo. So I can't remember the name, but that company had to pay out $60 million or 60 million euros, something like that, to compensate for vaccine damages from the swine flu to people. It was like 60 people, and I think they were each getting like a million. I don't remember the exact details. All I remember, GlaxoSmithKline, that's the name. But all I remember is, I think it was like $60 million or 60 million euros, a pretty big amount. So, I mean, I've covered in the last 2 weeks 2 mainstream news articles that show that, yes, vaccines have caused negative health effects. Number 2, let's go to the Bin Laden story. The first article here is, this is pretty much in any mainstream news source. I just got it from The Hill. So pretty much Seymour Hersh, otherwise known as Cy Hirsch, I believe that's what they call him, said, Obama lied about the Bin Laden raid. And if you don't know who this guy is, you could look him up on Wikipedia. He writes for the New Yorker. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner, and he has won also other awards like the Polk Award 5 times, and also has won the George Orwell Award. So a pretty established media personnel or journalist, whatever the hell you want to call him. He came out and said the Obama thing is a lie, or the Osama killing's a lie. And from me looking at it, I have to agree with him. If I had to say, I do think that the government lied about it and just used it for a political advantage. Like Obama probably used it just to get reelected, because in times of crisis, when the president acts in response to that so-called crisis, their approval ratings usually go up through the roof, like when Bush responded to the 9/11. So, and I think I'm going to do a video about the Osama bin Laden killing in maybe pretty soon. It's like I've never really done an in-depth video of that, so I kind of want to do a video on that. Maybe pull up some articles and shit. So yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll see what if I have time to get to that. But it's very alarming when you have there's so many facts about the whole killing that are just what do I want to call them? They're just startling to look at. It makes you question, did the government lie about them? And they did lie, in my opinion. I do think that they did lie. So, again, I will cover this probably more in the future, but, even the mainstream news, even Cy Hirsch comes out and admits it's a lie. The Osama, bin Laden, even he is saying it's a lie. Number 3, an off-the-grid family lost custody of their 10 children because I guess it was determined the living conditions were too harsh. I mean, this is a bunch of bullshit right here. You know, and if you, I forgot to, I meant to link their fucking Facebook page on here, but maybe I could do that, you know, if I go back, if I remember, but I think it's in this article here. You can pull up the article, and it does link to their Facebook page in the article. But if you, you know, if you can't find it, then alright, but I mean, if you go on their Facebook page, this family has a Facebook page, I mean, it shows the you know, all the shit they have on their little, homestead there, you know, animals, you know, children, of course, you know, all the great things. And it looks like a nice farm, you know, or homestead, whatever the hell you want to call it. I mean, it looks self-sufficient for the most part, you know. And I guess they were complaining about the housing conditions, you know, just, I guess they're saying, oh, the people are in tarps. You know, well, guess how people lived fucking, you know, 100 years ago. That's how they fucking lived, you know. Or, you know, a lot of people still do, actually. They still live, you know, like that. A lot of people actually live way worse than that. You know, a lot of people fucking live, you know, and especially going back to, like, the Native Americans and the Indians and whatnot. You know, I know people, oh, there's a difference between the two. I don't fucking know the exact difference. But, I mean, look at those people. I mean, that's how people used to live. And I'll tell you this, you have a lot better chance of dying from the horrible things put in your food, like the aspartame, the high fructose corn syrup, the fluoride, than you do from living in a house with a tarp on it or whatever. You know, it definitely looks safe to me. I mean, you could make the argument, oh, if a tornado comes by. Well, you know, we take risks in life, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous that these children are seized. They all look very healthy, very, you know, just looks like a quality family. And it looks like the government once again is overstepping its boundaries and taking children, you know, from their parents without even, I don't even think they were charged with anything. Just take them from their parents. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous here. It's the out of control government. And again, did one of these children get hurt? No, they haven't got hurt. They look perfectly fine. There's, you know, pictures of them on the YouTube page building snowmen. They look, you know, like very good children. Yet the government takes the kids, you know, for actually having a, you know, off the grid lifestyle. And that's the enemy right there. That's the enemy to the government. Somebody who's not dependent on government. Somebody who has, you know, like solar panels, you know, collects rainwater, you know, has their own food, like has their own cattle, chickens, etc., plants their own crops. That's the fucking enemy. I believe Forbes came out with an article, The War on Lemonade Stands. I mean, they don't want you to be self-sufficient. They want you to be dependent on government so that, you know, the government can control you more. Alright, next article here, number 4. I want to talk about it. So I saw this article about police torture in Chicago. And Chicago is apparently dealing out $5.5 million to police torture victims. Apparently they said the victims were, you know, tortured during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. 1970s, 80s, and 90s. And then, again, this just admits, you know, just a violation of, you know, the 8th Amendment, banning cruel and unusual punishment. You know, and it's just, again, you know, more fucking torture, you know, acting like it's, you know, a lot of conservatives or a lot of people like to say, oh, you know, torture is this great thing and whatnot, you know. But let's not even focus on torturing a terrorist. I mean, right here, they're torturing fucking American people. Again, clearly unconstitutional, according to the 8th Amendment. But they said, oh yeah, you know, it only went on the 70s, you know, 1970s to the 1990s. Well, I want to take you back a few months ago to this torture, you know, this black site in Chicago. The Guardian reported on it. Very fucking interesting, you know, where apparently a lot of bad shit went on, you know, and the Guardian posted an article on it. So go read it. It's pretty interesting, you know, to look into it. You know, it definitely does look suspicious and shit like that. Number 5, I want to cover an article here the Telegraph put up saying cost of healthy living soars in developing world while junk food gets cheaper. I think it's a myth that you have to pay more to eat healthy. Now, typically, if you take a typical healthy food, let's take an average healthy food and compare it with an average junk food, the healthy food is going to be more, probably. But if you fucking know what the fuck you're doing, you can actually eat healthy for very fucking cheap, and probably cheaper than, I think, you know, if you try to eat healthy and doing it in a cheap way, you could save a lot more money than somebody who eats, you know, like fast food or shit like that. Because even if you look at McDonald's, you go buy a burger, some fries, a Coke, whatever, you know, that's like fucking, it's got to be over $5, you know, with the whole meal and combo, whatnot. It's like $5, $6, $7 for yourself right there. You know, plus you gotta drive there, you know, and shit like that. But if you know, let's say at home, you know, you decide instead of going to McDonald's, I'm gonna make myself 3 or 4 eggs. A carton of eggs cost like $2 or $3. So you know, you're fucking spending less than $1 to make those eggs. So there you go, cheaper. Oatmeal, the big fucking box of oatmeal from what's the name? I can't think of the name of the Quaker Oats, I believe is the name. It's fucking $4. You can make some oatmeal for fucking probably less than 50 cents. I mean, there's a lot of things, healthy foods. Cereal's another one. The cereal I buy, you buy a box for like $2.99, $3.99. You get 3-4 bowls out of it. There you go, about $1 per bowl. So I mean, a lot of fucking foods that you eat are actually healthy foods that you eat are actually cheaper than ordinary foods. You know, or unhealthy foods like McDonald's. You know, so and if you go to a restaurant too, which mostly has garbage food, that costs a fortune compared to like eggs or something like that. So I think it's very fucking possible to eat healthy without breaking the bank. You know, you could probably make it through the day eating healthy, like with $10-20 even. I mean, it's a joke how they try to say, oh, eating healthy's, expensive. And while like organics more, and it can be expensive to eat healthy because some healthy foods are more expensive or cost a lot, but it's very possible to eat healthy for less. And not that much money. You don't eat. It's not like you have to be, you know, in the 1% to fucking eat healthy. Next story I want to get to here is to a story, you know, that's kind of unique. You probably wouldn't expect me to cover it, but I want to cover this story. I saw this story. I felt like, you know, I should cover it. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't, you know, is it a big deal? No. But, I mean, I just want to talk about what it represents as well. So, apparently, a fire was set to a goose's nest. And the goose, instead of leaving the nest, sat on the eggs, trying to protect them. I mean, what an incredible, you know, story this is. You know, I just want to talk about here the difference between, you know, this person and the goose. So apparently they were saying it's probably a person who set the fire on purpose. I mean, this is a problem with society here. These types of people. I think it's funny to, you know, torture animals, you know, set fires near goose's eggs, and just totally sick, you know, mental people right here. You know, or people who, you know, just like I was watching a video on YouTube of somebody, you know, killing fire ants. And it's one thing, you know, if they're on your lawn, you know, you could, I see the point in killing them. But he was like taking joy in them, like, you know, killing them and like getting almost like a euphoric sense out of killing them. It's like, you know, I get the point, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. You have to kill animals to eat, you know, kill animals for supplies, kill animals because they're a danger to you. I get that. But it becomes another thing when you're fucking, you know, killing animals for fun, or you know, like, I don't agree with killing a deer just so you could hang it up on your wall. You know, I just don't see the fucking point. You know, I think you should at least use, you know, like the meat of the animal or something. But you know, so this person fucking decided to set. I mean, what again? What a just a sick mental person. And then on the opposite, you have a mother goose who's laying on her eggs while the fire is burning her feathers, trying to protect, you know, her eggs. I mean, just what an incredible story here, and what an incredible contrast of character between the goose, who's giving up her life, and this douchebag here. So, you know, they were saying the eggs, you know, they don't know if they're going to survive or not. I mean, I sure hope they do. And maybe I'll try to get a follow-up story on that. But just really an amazing story here. You know, with the Canadian goose sitting on the burning nest to protect it. Just, you know, it just shows how awesome nature is and how great, you know, everything around us in nature is, and how we could just admire nature, and just the beauty of it. And then, you know, on the other hand, we could fucking be ashamed at one of our own, you know, just being so sick, lighting a fire near a goose, goose nest to be funny, a little funny. You know, shut the fuck up, you know. It's like, why do people do this shit? It's just so sick. Number 7, I want to get here to psychiatric drugs. Apparently, one of the top, the top doctor came out, top researcher, whatever the hell he's called in this. I forget what he was called. I think it was like top doctor or something like that. But he said 500,000 plus Western adults die annually from antidepressant drugs or psychiatric drugs, whatever the hell you want to call them. It said it has few positive health benefits. So there you go, people. While they keep drugs like marijuana illegal, you get these fucking psychiatric drugs, antidepressant drugs. And I believe there was a story a few months ago titled that actually a lot of people on antidepressants don't have depression. So, you know, here we go. Just another story about, you know, psychiatric drugs, you know, being harmful to you. You know, and it's very clear that, you know, these mainline drugs, most of them don't work. You know, it's the medicines like colloidal silver that actually work on you. So, you know, just proving again why, you know, big pharma is corrupt, and, you know, all these medicines a lot of them are bad for you. 8. There's a bunch of bees dying as of late. It came out, and, you know, AP did a story on how like 40% of bee colonies have died. Now they say they have produced some more or whatever, but I mean, just a very startling fact, and everything going on with the bees. You know, like they're fucking like dying off, you know, all of a sudden. A lot of people think it's pesticides, and I do think that's quite a good possibility, since, you know, the GMO garbage and, you know, the pesticides and Monsanto and all that shit. So I think that could be a contributing factor. Maybe it's a multitude of factors. Who the fuck knows? But anyway, you know, it's very shocking to see all these bees die. And I believe it was Albert Einstein who said, once the bees go, we go. So it's very, you know, we should probably be looking into this and studying it, because, you know, if the bees go, it could be a fatal thing to happen on this country. And the last one, I want to talk about the bird flu. So apparently, I think it was like 20 million birds were dead from this bird flu. I believe the number was. I mean, this could turn into something really fucking big. I mean, 20 million is already quite a few, but, you know, that's a big fucking story there. 20 fucking million, you know, people, birds, you know, dead. You know, we should really be monitoring this and, you know, trying to, I don't know how to stop the spread, but if we can try to stop the spread, you know, from it becoming I don't think it's a nationwide thing, but prevent it from becoming a nationwide thing. Because, I mean, if this spreads to more birds, I mean, it has the potential to be very deadly. So there you go, people. There is, and you know, birds, again, like most animals, play a vital role, or a lot of animals play a vital role in the survival of humans. And if you take away, I think, one animal just totally from an ecosystem or whatever, it fucks it up. So we should always be monitoring things like the honeybees and the birds. You know, if they're, you know, having trouble, you know, staying afloat, you know, we should fucking monitor them and make sure that they aren't falling or rising or what, or just see how they're being affected. But there you go, people. There's the Ruthless Ranchers Weekly News. And again, if you want to check out more articles, I did post on the next page a ton of fucking articles that I didn't cover. It's actually right here. There we go. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there you go. 10 articles. So there you go, people. If you want to go check it out, you could go fucking check it out. You know, the articles that I didn't cover, I still think they're interesting articles, but I don't think they made the cut. But there you go, people. There's the Ruthless Ranchers Weekly News.